This is Josna Devi Bodapati, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, Vignan University. In this lecture, different performance measures that are used for machine learning models are discussed. First of all, we should understand why do we need to understand the performance of the algorithms. So once the machine learning models are implemented for some task, then we should understand how effective they are on the data. So to understand their effectiveness, we should measure their performance. Based on the performance only, we can understand the models are performing effectively or not. So to understand that, we can use different types of metrics depending on the task that is handled by the machine learning algorithm. Say for example, classification models. So that is when we implement the machine learning algorithm for the classification task, then we can use either of these metrics: accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score or AUC. So depending on the situation, we can use any of these types of metrics. So we'll shortly see when to use which type of measure. And if the machine learning model we are using is a regression model, say for example, weather prediction, temperature prediction or house price prediction, in such cases, we can use RMSE, that is root mean square error, or the better measure is R square. And in case of the segmentation algorithm, that is, say for example, given the image, the model has to segment the tumored part or the affected region. So appropriate measures are IOU. IOU stands for intersection over union. Or we can even use pixel accuracy, precision, recall also. So in this talk, we will confine to the accuracy of the classification models. So let us see in detail what are the different measures that can be used on the classification models and when to use which measure. Once the model is available, then its performance has to be evaluated. Then the question is, on what data the performance of the model has to be evaluated. So we can evaluate the performance of the model on the training data itself. But the problem here is when the model is tested using the training data, the results will be biased towards the training data because the model is already tuned to the training data. So the output of the model would be anyhow good on the training data. So that is why measuring the performance of a model on training data is not a good idea. So to better understand the generalization ability of a model, we have to use some other data that is not seen by the model during the training. So generalization ability of a model means how well the model performs on the data that is not yet seen during the training. To understand a model's generalization ability, we have to test its performance on the data called as test data. So test data is a set of examples which is not shown to the model during its training. So the ideal case is evaluate the performance of the model on the test data and use it as an indicator to show the effectiveness of the model. Yes. So confusion matrix is basically a table that is often used to understand the performance of any model. So a classifier basically. This is a sample of the confusion matrix for a given model. The model is evaluated on 180 samples. So n means the total number of samples and the ground truth means the actual data. So this is a confusion matrix taken for the binary classification task. That is, we have two classes for the task. So we are considering the classes as positive and negative. In the ground truth case, we have positive examples as 100 positive, 100 examples under the positive class and 80 examples are the under the negative class. So each column indicates the class. So this is the positive class, this is the negative class. And so the column wise when we observe, it indicates the ground truth of the data. And similarly when we observe the values on the row wise. So here if we observe this, so this is the predicted data. So that means the predictions, how the model is predicted. So that is indicated using the rows. So here also, as we have two classes, so we have two rows in the confusion matrix. One is a positive class and the other one is a negative class. And each row, so how many examples are classified as positive by the model is, we can get that value by summing up the row values of the across the positive class. So 60 plus 30, that means 90. 90 examples are actually predicted as positive by the model. So that is what is indicated by each row of the confusion matrix. And similarly, the second row indicates how many examples are predicted as negative by the model. So in this case, so again 90 examples are predicted as negative by the model. So then how to understand, how to use this tool to understand the effectiveness of the as a measure of the performance is, here this indicates, each cell indicates a measure. So this cell indicates how many of the examples are positive actually they are belonging to the positive examples 60 and they are predicted as positive. That means positive examples, original positive examples are predicted as positive. That means they are correctly classified. And here if we observe this cell, the data in this cell, this indicates that actually these samples, these 30 samples are belonging to the negative class, but they are by mistake predicted as positive by the predictor, by the model. So they are wrongly classified. That means these are wrongly classified, whereas these are correctly classified. And if we observe this cell, again observe this cell. So these are the actually belonging to the positive class, because this column indicates the positive class in the ground truth side. That's why these 40 examples are actually belonging to the positive class, but they are predicted as negative. So that means positive, they are belonging to the positive class, but predicted as negative means they are again misclassified. They are wrongly classified by the model. Then look at these 50, the value 50. So these 50 examples are actually belonging to the negative class and they are predicted as negative also. So that means they are correctly classified. So out of the total 100 examples, how many are correctly predicted as positive? 60. And out of the 80 negative examples, how many are correctly classified as negative? That is 50. And out of the 100 positive examples, 40 are misclassified, and similarly out of the 80 examples, 30 are misclassified as positive by the model. So this indicates how many examples, the number of examples that are correctly classified by the model and that are misclassified by the model. So this indicates the numbers, and based on this we can measure the different metrics the models. Let us see. So here, so we are taking the cancer classification task. That is, there are two classes again. So the person is having cancer or not is the task. So in this case, actual means cancer is positive. So negative means negative class indicates the cancer is so not there in the not positive. It's non-cancerous. And similarly in predicted also cancerous, non-cancerous. There are two classes in prediction, in actual and prediction. So then, so the examples that are correctly classified, they are belonging to the cancerous and they are predicted as cancerous means they are correctly classified because they are belonging to the positive and correctly classified. We call it as true positive. The number of examples that are correctly classified as positive, we call them as true positives. And similarly, if we observe the number of examples that are belonging to the negative class and they are predicted as negative itself, that means these are also correctly classified and we call them as true negatives. They are truly classified as negative. So that is what TN, we shortly call it as TN. Whereas correctly classified as positive, we call it as true positives. And there are other values also, those are misclassified values. So let's give some name to that also. So this cell indicates, so these are the actually non-cancerous cases but they are predicted as cancers. In that case, we call them as false positive. The reason is they are falsely predicted by the model as positive. That's why we call them as false positives. Similarly, if we observe this number, so we call it as false negative. Again, the reason is they are actually belonging to the positive class, that is cancerous, but the model is predicting them as non-cancerous. So falsely the model is predicting as negative. That's why we call it as false negative. So once we have all these values, so we can get a measure called as accuracy, which indicates how many or what portion of the samples are actually correctly classified. So how do we get that number? So actually these are the numbers, these are the values that are correctly classified, and these are also correctly classified. So the sum of true positives plus true negatives divided by the total number of examples. How do we get the total number of examples? True positive plus false positive plus false negative plus true negative. So sum of all these four cell values. So this is how we get the accuracy measure of a model. So what it indicates? Accuracy actually gives the proportion of the samples that are correctly classified. So usually it varies. The measure takes the values from 0 to 100. So we include the values that are belonging to both the classes, positive and negative. So in this case we are considering only binary case. The same can be extended to multiple classes also. If we have one more class, in that case we will get one more row and one more column in the confusion matrix, and we get the correctly classified values here, and then we can get the accuracy of the multi-class classifier also. And in addition to the accuracy measure, so we have various other measures also. I'll shortly explain why do we need to have all the additional metrics. Do we really need to have these additional metrics or not? So I'll justify that soon. So before proceeding further, let us see what are the other measures we can derive based on the confusion matrix itself. Once we have the confusion matrix, we are done with the most of the part. So once we fill the confusion matrix, and it is very easy to calculate the number of measures. See here, misclassification rate is the other measure. So in this confusion matrix, again we are taking the binary case, and the number of examples as 165, total number of examples, and 100 examples are predicted as positive, correctly classified from the positive side, and 50 examples are correctly classified in the negative class. And similarly, so 10 examples are false positives, 5 samples are falsely predicted as negative. So once we have these values, so we can find all these measures. Let us see. So misclassification rate. So accuracy indicates how many portion of the examples are correctly classified. In this case, 91% of the examples are correctly classified. And what is the misclassification rate? It is actually 100 minus this value, or 1 minus 0.91. In that case it is 0.09, or you can indicate, if you want it as a percentage, you can say 9%. So what this misclassification rate indicates is how many examples or what portion of the examples are wrongly predicted by the model or misclassified by the model. So what are the samples that are misclassified? The false positives and the false negatives. So it is equal to false positives plus false negatives by the total number of examples. So that gives the misclassification rate. And there are other measures also. We can find all the other measures also. The next one is the true positive rate. So true positive rate, it is popularly known as sensitivity or recall. Actually, it tells you how many of the positive samples are correctly classified. So in the ground truth, how many are belonging to the positive class? 105 are belonging to the positive class. And out of those 110, 105, how many are correctly classified as positive? 100 are correctly classified. So in these examples, in these kind of applications like prediction of the cancer, in such applications, it is very important to understand how the model is performing on the positive cases. So we are much interested in the positive cases because that is very important to understand. We should not ignore any of the positive cases. That is why we are interested in the positive cases. So recall what it measures is how many of the actual positive cases are actually predicted as positive by the model. In this case, 105 are the total samples and 100 are correctly classified as positive. So the measure is true positive by true positive plus false negative. So that gives 95%. So our 95% of the positive cases are predicted by the model. So it's reasonably good, that means. The next measure is the false positive rate. So false positive rate indicates how many of the examples are actually belonging to the false positive rate. So false positive rate indicates how many of the examples are wrongly classified as positive out of the total negative examples. So that can be calculated as false positive rate by the total number of negative samples. That is a false positive rate. Similarly, we can compute the true negative rate also. True negative rate indicates so how many are correctly classified as negative out of the total negative samples. So this can be computed as true negative by the total samples that are belonging to the negative class. And another important measure is precision. So precision indicates how many of the examples are predicted as positive out of the total number of positive examples predicted by the model. That is the proportion of positively predicted examples by the model. So that is what is indicated by precision. The proportion of the positively predicted examples by the model is a precision. So this can be computed as the total number of positively predicted examples are 110 and correctly classified positive examples are 100. So 100 by 110 is equal to 91. So 91% is the precision value, recall value is 95%, accuracy is 91%. F1 score. So F1 score is another useful measure to indicate the performance of a classifier. So this is actually a combination of, this measure is actually a combination of precision and recall. So sometimes precision or recall may not give good indications. So we'll shortly see when they fail. Even accuracy also fails in certain cases. We'll shortly see when accuracy, precision, recall may not be good indicators. So in that case, we better go for F1 score. So F1 score indicates the overall performance of the model. So this can be computed as 2 into precision into recall by precision plus recall. This is actually a harmonic mean of precision and recall of the model. This is how we can compute different performance measures once we have the confusion matrix. So it is very important to understand the confusion matrix, how to prepare the confusion matrix, how to fill the table, and once we have the values, we can easily measure various performance measures. Now we have seen different performance measures and how to compute different performance measures based on the confusion matrix. Then when to use which measure? So is accuracy is not sufficient to measure the performance of a classification model. Though in certain cases accuracy is not a good measure, especially when the data set is an imbalanced data set. So a data set is imbalanced means the number of samples available in all the classes is not balanced. That means not equal in number. So consider this case, So there's an application for cancer classification again. So in a real-time scenario, so if we consider the people, so rarely this disease is affected. So out of the, I have taken 1000 samples. Out of the 1000 samples, so 950 are negative and 50 are positive. So they are identified as cancerous and remaining are identified as non-cancerous. So if we observe the prediction of the model, so I am taking, I am not basically applying any machine learning algorithm. So I have taken a model which basically predicts every example as non-cancerous. So that is what the model I have taken. So in this case, if we observe, so 50 examples are actually cancerous and 950 are non-cancerous. So I smartly, what I did is, I assign all the examples. I observed that most of the examples are belonging to the non-cancerous case. So even if I assign all the examples to the non-cancerous case also, so I will get 95% accuracy. So as I observed that, to give a hype on the accuracy measure, so without putting any effort, so I created a model such that every example I get is determined as non-cancerous. So even if I do that, my accuracy measure is 95%. Is it a good indicator now? No, right? So actually we are much interested in the positive cases, but the model is actually showing there are no cancerous patients at all. So now the model is failing. In these cases especially, accuracy is not a good measure. In such cases, we can rely on a metric or a measure called as recall. So recall, what it tells is, recall tells, so how many portion of the recall tells us what portion of the interested points are correctly classified. In this case, we are interested in true positives. So out of the positive case, how many are positively classified? So if we consider that measure, so true positive by true positive plus false negative, that is 0 by 0 plus 50, that is 0 by 50 is 0. So now when we look at the recall, so it clearly indicates that our model is not at all performing well. Whereas if we rely on accuracy alone, we feel that our model is performing excellent. So in these cases, we better rely on recall. So the data, when the data sets are imbalanced, then we better rely on recall, not on accuracy alone. Now let us take another example. Now I have changed, I have taken the same example, but I have changed the model. So what I did is, so instead of assigning every example to the positive class, I assigned every example, every sample as cancerous. So as I observed that the customer is more interested in the true positive case. So I smartly assigned every example that comes to me as a positive sample. So instead of looking into the example, I simply classified it as positive. So I have taken the advantage of the customer's interest and I classified them as cancerous. So now if we rely on the recall alone, then will it be appropriate? So if we consider the recall of the model, it shows 100%. The reason is 50 examples, out of 50 examples, 50 examples are correctly classified as positive and 950 examples are wrongly classified. Even then I am getting 100% recall. Now is it a good measure? No. Then we can rely on the precision. So precision, if we compute the precision of the value of the model, then it gives the, so what is precision? Precision is how many of the total predicted values of the model are correctly predicted as positive. So that indicates the precision of a model, and when we compute precision, it is only 5%. Now we can again understand that the model is not performing well. So a good performance indicator of the model when the data set is imbalanced is a F1 score. F1 score is actually a measure that is a combination of precision and recall. So this is how we can choose, depending on the application and depending on the task in hand, we have to decide which performance measure has to be used to evaluate the performance of the model.